Hey guys, what's up? It's TF now. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new McFarlane Toys The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Geralt of Rivia figure. This is the gold label collection version, which that line is basically a Walmart exclusive release of figures where you have the retail figures and then the gold label has different colors for some of the figures. And there are some unique figures like the McFarlane designed Batman, but we have Geralt here from Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which is one of my favorite video games of all time. It's so good. And McFarlane Toys also did the Cyberpunk 2077 figures, which both games were made by CD Projekt Red. So I'm very excited to have some more figures from video games, especially games that I really like in my collection. So let's go ahead and just talk about the packaging. On the top here, it says The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. You can see the figure in the box with the accessories that it comes with, and it does say McFarlane Gold Label Collection. A very nicely done, shiny gold part here. It's really good. And then towards the bottom here, you see the rest of the figure in the box. You have these patterns in the backdrop there in the red. And then it does say Geralt of Rivia. On this side here, it just has this, wherever the dark is, there's a certain design going on throughout here. It's pretty nicely done. It says Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, CD Projekt Red. And on this side here, it says Geralt of Rivia. And it says McFarlane Toys in red right there. On the top here, it does say 14 plus, not a toy. McFarlane Toys, and we have the signs here, all 5 signs from the game. On the back here, you can see where it says Witcher 3 Wild Hunted Geralt of Rivia, and towards the top right, it does say McFarlane Toys, and then we do have the figure in the box, and when we look towards the bottom here, it does say 22 moving parts, CD Projekt Red, and McFarlane Toys social media. And towards the very bottom here, if you need the barcode, go ahead and you can screen grab that, and then just a bunch of other read-ups and whatnot here. So let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging. So here's the figure out of the packaging, and honestly, it's a lot better than what I thought it was going to be based on those promotional images. It's not without its negatives, though, so let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories that it comes with, and we'll take a closer look at the figure. So we get 2 different types of swords, one steel one for humans, and the silver one for monsters. One thing I like about these swords is the sculpting are very cool. Let's zoom in really quick, shall we? Hopefully I can focus. It is, you can see right there, some nice writing on the blade on the inside there, almost like there's runes. One thing I don't like, though, the paint is pretty lackluster. I'm going to have to zoom out so I can get a better idea of what's being focused on. The paint on the silver is not good. In fact, there's no paint. It just looks like a flat gray. If you know how to repaint these, I would definitely repaint the silver areas. The brown on the handle here isn't bad, but it's just, I just wish there was more. The sculpting overall, like the overall sculpt of it, though, looks really cool. It looks like a nice Witcher silver sword. We have a steel sword here with a very nice pommel at the end here. I would just appreciate this sculpting more, again, if paint was better. We have a much darker brown on this handle compared to the other one. But again, if you're a customizer, I would repaint these. They do have weapon storage, though. I have seen from all different types of promotional images for Witcher 3 different ways to sheath it, but on the packaging, what you do is simply insert it like that. And what I meant earlier about the swords, like, I don't know if the steel sword is supposed to go here, silver sword, I'm pretty sure based on the game it's supposed to be like this, but I've seen it in different promotional images that both of them are sheathed differently. This actual sheath, though, is removable. There's a hole on the back of Geralt. Just pop this off here. Now on the inside, you can see the swords. And yeah, I don't really like this hole at all being exposed. I just wish it was closed off. I guess they didn't want to do it in case the sword's blades get damaged in here, or if there's any paint chipping. So I could see that, but at the same time, I don't know. It could have been a different way. The paint and sculpt on the actual sheath is cheese, or whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. I don't really know what the plural is supposed to be. The sculpting is alright, but the paint's pretty sloppy in certain areas. The light brown, the dark brown don't really mix well. The black on this sheath is kind of bleeding through, like the brown is bleeding through there. So it's kind of messy. It's a little bit of a hair on there. The overall sculpt, though, again, is pretty solid. And then you just, that little peg right there, which I wish was a little bit higher. I just would, they just look really high up, as you can see. I forgot to mention that there's just a very basic circular black stand in the packaging. pretty much taped off or glued in here. That says The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I'm not going to remove it. I don't want to damage the packaging. Now, one problem I have with the promotional images of this figure is that the face and the sculpt looked pretty terrible, honestly. It looked really glossy. This final product, my hand's a little shaky, I do apologize, is pretty awesome. This looks fantastic. I really like the sculpting and the paint that went through here. It's almost like they used digital face printing, like what Marvel Legends does. It looks just so awesome. It has wrinkles around the crow's feet around the eyes. The scars on his face are really nicely sculpted and painted. The eyes came through really nice. Even the facial hair. I do wish there was a little bit more variation in the hair when it comes to paint. Just mostly one type of paint. Maybe a little bit brighter gray or white would have, added a little bit of detail and whatnot. But the overall paint and sculpt is super solid. And even in the skin tone, there's like a little bit of a darker, like around the cheeks, it's a little bit darker, and on the forehead, it's lighter. They did a really great job overall. The rest of the outfit, this is what it's going to look like on the, the retail figure, except for the paint, of course. It's going to be more of like a dark blue. This says on McFarlane Toys' website for this particular figure, it's dyed yellow, but it's very much a light brown, as you can see here. I really like how the chest is sculpted. They did a really good job with the pecs, the Witcher medallion right there. Nice silver on the buckles, straps. It's almost like chainmail, as you can see on the armor, on the shoulders and the elbows. Not elbows, but the this part of the arm. Is that the bicep, I believe? It's all looking really nice. I like the silver, as you can see, and there's some black right there, and it just looks really good. The way that the leather is supposed to be detailed is done super well. And yeah, it's just very clean. That's what the arms, see on the inside there. It's a Gambison or Gambison, like underclothing for armor. I don't really remember what it's supposed to be called. It looks really good here though, if that's what it is. And the gauntlets are really nicely painted and sculpted. Nice buckles there. The wrist peg is pretty big. But also, I feel like his hands were pretty big in the game, too. That could also be because of the gloves. As you can see, there's a little bit of, like, brown. Or, like, these knuckles are silver, and it was chipped a little bit on the knuckles. It might be on this one, actually. Yeah, so just be careful with that. The paint may end up chipping off, but it's really nicely painted here. So the back looks like really nice stitches and seams, as you can see. This is a soft plastic piece. Pretty much this whole piece right here, where you get to the stomach, is a soft plastic piece. And it looks a little warped in some areas. So I don't really know how I feel about this. There's a lot more things going on here than, say, I actually have it right here. With Johnny Silverhand, it's all just one. There's a couple different components going on here, but it works better because it's all a soft piece to where it's not going to look as weird when crunching forward. But there's just more going on here that when you do, it doesn't look supernatural. I do wish, I mean, it probably looks better this way, but this is a instance of I do wish this chest piece here was actually sculpted and not, as in like part of the articulation and not just a soft rubber piece. But there's some nice stretching, as you can see throughout here when it comes to like the wrinkles in the where the stomach, where there's supposed to be wrinkles, of course. We have a little hook here. On the retail version, you're going to get an accessory that is a wolf head, like a werewolf head, and we don't have anything here, unfortunately. But the belt is pretty solid. Nice paint. That hook is nicely painted. It's very soft plastic. It's kind of gummy. So when you get the retail version, you want to hook the trophy on here. Be careful. Going down to the legs, the paint looks a little sloppy when it comes to the seam lines in the legs, but the actual sculpt is pretty solid. There's a Witcher butt right there. On the back, that's what the knees look like. They have a little bit of this like stitching going on in the back of the legs, and on the front too. And then these boots actually look great. They look like leather, and they have some variation of some dirt and some brown painted into the black of the boots. They're not exactly black. It's a very, very, very dark gray. Man, these just look great. I dig them. Dig them a lot. That's what the back looks like. And then the front, or really the top of the feet, as you can see, some nice stretching and some nice wrinkles going on, as well as some buckles, or really some straps right here. And again, more leather. And this little thing sticking out right here. There's not much detail actually on the bottom of the feet. I think that's fine. I don't always pay attention to what the feet look like. And there's some peg holes, of course. So yeah, overall, some areas I do think could be better with sculpt and detail, but it is just overall a very solid figure that they've given us. So my camera died doing the articulation, so I'm going to start over that. The head kind of swivels. It can kind of tilt side to side, but the up and down is not very good. Head articulation is overall poor because of the sculpt of the hair getting in the way, unfortunately. But we do have, as you can see here, a slight butterfly joint in the chest. Arms go all the way around. It could go in and out. Right here, we do have an upper arm swivel, double jointed elbows. We have the McFarlane wrist articulation that can hinge here, swivel here at the forearm. Then we have the swivel actually at the hand here, so that's pretty good. But this articulation in the waist, that's very much like Johnny Silverhand's, where I actually have no idea where the joint's supposed to be, so I feel like something could break eventually. Hinges back and forth, side to side, it actually can rotate. You do have a crotch piece that is a soft plastic, so the forward is actually pretty alright. Same thing with the back. The forward's actually, pretty good. In and out. We do have a bit more thigh swivel this time around. It's still not great because of the actual thigh sculpt here getting in the way. We do have double jointed knees, a actual swivel at the ankle here, and these ball joints kind of look weird, not as weird as the ones for the wrist. It swivels there, hinges up and down. Of course, I said that in the reverse order. That's up, that's down, of course, you all know that. And then we do have a toe hinge. So overall, pretty solid articulation. So for size comparisons, I brought a pretty good number of figures out. I have V and Johnny Silverhand on the left there for McFarlane Toys Cyberpunk 2077 line. They all fit pretty well in scale with each other. I think the Cyberpunk figures are just a little bit taller than Geralt. I have no idea how tall he's supposed to be compared to them. On the right, we have the Wicked Cool Toys and Jazzwares Halo Infinite Master Chief. Master Chief should really tower over people, and doesn't really do that compared with Geralt, but he's still going to be taller than Geralt. He's like 7.5 inches. And then we have the Retro Collection Marvel Legends Spider-Man there, which is going to be much shorter than a 7-inch scale figure like Geralt here. So overall, this is a very solid figure, and I don't have much to complain about. It's mostly just some nitpicks. The upper thigh swivel is not the greatest, like with a lot of McFarlane Toys figures, and the head rotation and pretty much the whole head articulation is not very good. That's mostly because of the hair. Some areas of the sculpt aren't super top notch on this figure, but the rest is pretty good. I'm not the biggest fan of the soft goods entire torso that we have here, but for the most part, I think it works. The biggest problem I have is just I don't really like the sheaths or the swords, really. I mean, I like the sculpt, but I don't like the paint at all. I mean, I just wish there was better paint on the blades of the swords, and some of the paint on the sheaths is a little sloppy. It's not god-awful, but it could be a lot better. I also wish we actually got some more accessories, like a crossbow, a trophy. It didn't have to be a different trophy. It could have just been the werewolf. And maybe a hand, alternate hands for, Igni or whatever signs you could think of. But overall, this is a very solid figure with very good sculpting throughout. Pretty decent articulation. That sculpt for Geralt, his face just looks so good. It's like he just came out of the game. And I am very happy overall with the paint detail sculpting. And the accessories, again, could be better, but it's still overall a top-notch figure. I'm very happy with it. The only other thing I want to mention is that getting him into two-handed poses with the sword is not impossible, but it just doesn't look the greatest, which is a little unfortunate. This is a $20 release, which is a Walmart exclusive in the entertainment section mostly. You can also order this online. The release date for getting it shipped to you online has been pushed back to March now. It's been delayed, but I found this at my local Walmart recently, so hopefully you can too. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends, and I will see you guys later.